Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. So I know I'm looking a little shiny and a little messy. It is currently 9 o'clock at night and I have been in this makeup for a little over 12 hours now, and I was going to touch up and I'm like, why am I going to touch up to take my whole face off? It's a mess. Anyway, I'm going to be walking you guys through a general skincare routine. So I'm going to go through my routine and I'm going to be giving you guys some areas where you can cut if you don't want to do a full 12-step routine. But I'm just going to be going over Skincare 101. This is going to be bare minimum what you need to be doing to take care of your skin for anti-aging purposes, and really just the way to take care of your skin in a way that a lot of people don't. So if that's something you're into, make sure to keep on watching. Please don't forget to subscribe because I do upload 3 times a week, and that is the best way to stay up to date on all the fun stuff I'm posting. Also, make sure to check out Glam on Instagram because I'm currently in the middle of a 31-day skincare challenge where I'm going through every single day posting one of my favorite products, something I'm really enjoying lately, or a longtime ride or die favorite of mine. So make sure to check me out over there and let's jump right into the video. So first thing we need to do is take off our makeup, and if you hear swirling, I have my rotating makeup caddy here that I use for all of my skincare in my bathroom that, yes, I totally carried in here. First thing you're going to want to do is take off your makeup. I usually go in with the Farmacy Green Clean. As you can see, it's well loved. I'm going to drop a clip in just because it does get messy and I hate doing it here. I prefer to do it in my bathroom. But luckily, the other day I filmed using this, so I'm going to insert a clip of me removing my makeup with this, and I will be following that up with a cleanser. So I just took off my makeup, but I did not cleanse the skin yet. The reason is, at this point, if you wanted to go in with a clay mask or something a little heavier on the skin, I would recommend doing that before you cleanse. That way you can really get the mud off of your skin. Keep in mind, I did use the Green Clean to remove my makeup, and I actually took the Lancome Bifacil waterproof makeup remover to get off any residual mascara and most of my eye makeup. And at this point, my face is clean, but it is still not cleansed. Before I cleanse, I am going to go in with a quick mask. So 2 I've really been loving. First is the Herickson Cold Plunge Pore Mask. This is a really, really pretty color. And I'm going to add a tiny bit of that just to my more porous areas and the places on the skin I tend to get more oily. Now, once I started getting much more diligent with my skincare routine, I'm still very oily in my T-zone, but I've actually calmed down quite a bit everywhere else. So I've been enjoying the Summer Friday Jet Lag Mask, and this is something that gives you an instant burst of hydration and just overall nourishes the skin in a way that not many other things do. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of that, and I'm going to work that into just this area of my face because my face does not get dry at all. However, these are the places that I find I could benefit from a little extra hydration. So once those are on, I'm going to go and wait for the pore mask to dry down, and then I'll be right back. So I'm not completely dry yet, but I did want to talk about my cleansers before I use them. So the 2 that I really go between heavily are the Super Cleanse Clearing Cream to Foam Cleanser from GlamGlow, which I find mirrors a lot of the same effects as the GlamGlow SuperMud, but it's a little less potent, so you can use it gently enough to use every single day. This one I like, and when I'm not using that, I'm using the oil-free acne wash from Neutrogena. I've been using this for many years. This is infused with salicylic acid, so it's going to help with oil control and acne control, so it really helps to prevent breakouts. Now, both of these are very good for cleansing the skin. However, in addition to cleansing the skin, you do want to make sure that you are exfoliating the skin. So what I like to do is, after I cleanse, I go in with a toner. The 2 that I like to go in with are either the Tarte Knockout Treatment, which is a chemical exfoliant. If I'm not using this, I'll use the Dr. Brandt Microdermabrasion as a physical exfoliant. However, you should only be exfoliating your skin once every 3 days. So I'll use this every single Sunday, which is today, so I'll be using this one. And then I usually go in with this on Wednesdays, so that way I'm balancing my skin between a physical and a chemical exfoliator. On the days I'm not using this to tone, I go in with traditional Thayer's Witch Hazel. It's OG, and honestly, it works. This is the rose petal infused one, so it is calming as well as toning. But I am going to let this finish dry down. I'm going to cleanse my skin, and I will come back. I'm not using this exfoliator today just because it is a chemical day. I will be using this, but that I will be doing on camera. So I am back. First off, to address the elephant in the room, yes, my robe is now red. I do have two. When I come home and I just want to get out of whatever I'm wearing, I put on the blue one. The red one is the after shower. So anytime I'm wearing this one, I have just gotten out of the shower. So that's kind of my little rule of thumb. Second, I did cleanse, where'd I put it? I just put it, there we go. I just cleansed my face in the shower, and I did use my Clarisonic with the cleanser I told you I was going to use, and I swear by this. Every single day, morning and night, I use the pore refining head. If you are using this, make sure you're changing the head out every 3 months as directed. Otherwise, you will kind of get gross on the face. So, like I said, after we cleanse, we tone. Today, I'm going to be using the Knockout Treatment Toner, and I do like to take those on the Shiseido Face Cotton. These are my absolute favorite. They are like little, fluffy, happy pillows of magic. Like, do you see how thick this is? This is one. So I do like to take this, and I do keep the little like protector piece off of it just because I am like terrified of things breaking out, but I'm almost empty. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of this, and I'm just going to take this anywhere that I have very porous skin, because this is going to do two things. One, it's going to exfoliate, so it's going to pull some of the dead skin off and kind of melt that away, but it is also going to cleanse the pores and tighten them so that they are less noticeable throughout the day. Now, I will tell you guys that this one smells like pure vinegar. It is a very high acid complex, but it does use both salicylic and lactic acid, so it's going to be oil controlling and it's going to be pore toning, but it's also just going to be really nice for the skin. The first couple times you use this, you will notice your skin get very red and almost like blotchy. It is very strong. You have to make sure you build your tolerance up to it. Right now, it's not so bad. You will see over the next few minutes, it does start to get a little bit redder, but it is totally worth it because the next morning I wake up and my pores are just really tight and my skin feels fabulous. So now that we've cleansed and we've toned, and I did differentiate between taking your makeup off and cleansing, and that they are not different and you need to be doing both. This is the point where you would go in with a sheet mask if you wanted to. Instead, I went in with the clay mask duo, so I would not go in with a sheet mask, but if I was not doing a clay mask or like a mud mask, I would cleanse, tone, and then I would sheet mask after I toned the skin. Since we're not doing that, we can skip that. At this point, I do like to throw on a lip mask. This is the Laneige lip mask, which I have in every room of my house. This is the traditional berry scented flavored one. So this just like instantly nourishes and hydrates the skin on the lips. I do have one in so in my studio, the vanilla one lives in here. The traditional one lives in my bathroom. I've got green apple in my kitchen. I've got grapefruit in my car. Like, they are literally in every room of my house because they are that good. Now, because this toner is an exfoliating toner, and the Thayer's one I showed you is my night toner, during the day I tend to go in with the Sunday Riley Mattifying Martian toner. This just helps to keep my oils at bay a little bit better. So on a day I'm wearing makeup, I typically will go in with that. So the next step in a traditional Korean beauty skincare routine, which I do tend to follow, is your essence. This is the essence from Tatcha, which I think is such a fabulous product. Now, with an essence, something that I do like to remind people is it is best applied with the fingertips. So I take a little bit in the tips of my fingers, and I just gently massage it over the skin. Obviously, when you apply any products to the skin, you don't want to rub hard or tug. You really just want to very lightly glide the fingers over the skin, just to help make sure you saturate and get the entire face covered in the product. Next up, we have our serums. And I don't know, well, you can't really see because of the way I edit the video, but in between every step, I do like to give myself probably 2 minutes for everything to sink in. Like, the skin looks very shiny and dewy, but it is bone dry. Well, not bone dry, but it is dry from the product. I do like to make sure that I give the product time to sink in. So after I finish letting the essence absorb, I like to go in with my serums, and I do break that down into 2 categories. I start with my more like water-based and gel serums. So at night, I like to cocktail and mix 2 together. I like to take the Murad Revitalixer Recovery Serum, and I take about a half pump of that. This is going to help with anti-aging, fine lines, wrinkles, but it also helps with anti-inflammatory, so it reduces my redness. And on top of all of that, it really like works to get pollutants out of the skin. We like to think of pollutants out in the world like in the environment that get into our skin and break us out, but we never realize, like, unless you're changing your pillowcase every single night, there are plenty of pollutants around us in our own homes. So I like to use this morning and night to help reduce that. And at night, I do like to mix in a little bit of the Murad Retinol Youth Renewal Serum. So I take a little bit of this and mix it right in. And then, just like before, I do like to start in the middle of the face and work myself out. And I do like to make sure that I'm not tugging at the skin and I'm not ignoring down the neck. Then I like to go into either my more oil-based serums or things that are a little bit heavier. So I like to take, especially at night, my Midnight Recovery Concentrate from Kiehl's. This is a very thin formula, but I just like to take a few drops of this into my fingertips, and I mix in a couple drops of the Dr. Dennis Gross Hyaluronic Marine Booster, which is going to be great for hydration. And just like I did with everything else, we feather that from the inside of the face out. Once again, between every step, we do give plenty of time for things to dry in. So next up, we have our eye cream. So I like to take currently the Sheba Complex Eye Serum from Drunk Elephant, and I take a little bit of this on my fingertips. Do you see that tiny amount that I put there? That is enough for both eyes. So I like to take a tiny bit on the fingers, and I will gently apply it to the under eye and then pat it in. And you don't want to really drag. You really want to make sure that you are patting out, and then without like barely touching the skin, I will pull it into the area where we tend to get crow's feet, because Lord knows we don't want that. So next up, we go in with our moisturizer. So during the day, I like to go in with something really lightweight, like the Tatcha Water Cream, which is a very like thin gel consistency. We're not going to waste it, so I am going to mix that in tonight. But at night, I like to go in with something a little bit heavier and a little more nourishing. So for tonight, I'm going to be taking the Patchology Restoring Night Cloud Mask. So this is a very thick, nourishing, and hydrating formula. So I am going to mix in a little bit of that. And I do like to make sure that I take this everywhere. Now, that is not the only moisturizer I use. There are sometimes I'll take the Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream. Sometimes I will go in with, I have more in my bathroom, but the ones I have here, it's that, the Tatcha Water Cream. There's just a lot that I like. I've really been enjoying the Elemis Pro Collagen Marine Cream, but that's more of a day cream. All in all, they all work really well. So now at this point, you are just about done. I like to then go in with a finishing oil. So this is the Sunday Riley Sleeping Oil. This is the Luna, which is a retinoid infused oil. And I take a tiny bit of this. Instagram moment. And I do like to take that everywhere. Retinoid is the only anti-aging ingredient that is FDA certified. Like, obviously there are a lot of ingredients that are really good for the skin, but if you don't have a retinoid in your routine, it's almost like you're doing all of it for nothing. I disagree. I take that back. It's not that you're doing it for nothing, but it's going to be a lot less long-lasting effects. Obviously, taking care of your skin and doing good skincare is great for today and tomorrow, but retinoid is what's going to help for, like, years down the road. So at this point, I follow up every single night with my Grande Lash MD, and I take a tiny bit of my lash serum, and I will take it across both of my eyes. And then with whatever's left on the brush, I do pat a tiny bit onto my lower lashes. Now at this point, everything is done, everything has sunk in and absorbed in. I know the skin looks really shiny, but it is not greasy. That oil has really like penetrated the skin and sunk in. So if you did want to go in with some extra moisture, this is when I would take my Laneige sleeping mask. Laneige sleeping mask. I'm going to go with Laneige. That sounds right. And you could take a tiny bit of this for some extra moisture. This is only meant to use once or twice a week, but it is a fantastic product. So I know they just came out with a lavender scented one. I have not tried it yet, but it does smell really good. I did get a chance to smell it, but supposedly they do the same things. And I'm not going to take this into my T-zone because I do like to be hydrated in the T-zone, but I don't like to really have like excessive moisture. But I make sure to put a lot of this down the neck. Now, if this was a daytime routine, I would swap out the finishing oils for something more like an SPF or something to really protect the skin. And I also don't love doing mud masks in the morning before I put on makeup because I feel like I'm just going to recongest my pores all over again, but this is all up to personal preference. Couple big things that I want to make sure I remind you because they are like my big like top 5 skincare tips. First, cleansing the skin and removing your makeup are not the same thing. A makeup wipe or a makeup melter is great for getting everything off the skin, but even if it says that it does both, I still don't trust it. I would still recommend removing your makeup and then cleansing. Number 2, you want to make sure that you are using oils at the end of your routine. I know people like to say it's the opposite, but I have found that when I finish with the oil, all of the other products sink deeper into the skin. Think about it. Oil and water, if you put oil down first and then water on top, they're not going to mix. It's going to be a barrier and your skin's going to have an issue absorbing the like water-based formula. So you want to make sure that you're using your oils last. Third, there is a huge difference between oily and dry versus hydrated and dehydrated. I have very oily skin, but I also have very dehydrated skin. My skin needs a lot of moisture, needs a lot of hyaluronic acid. It's still going to produce a lot of oil, but I would rather it be hydrated as opposed to it being oily and dehydrated. So you can have oily skin and still get dry patches and still get flaky patches. That's more of a hydration issue. So for me, I personally like to make sure I am moisturizing and I'm nourishing the skin because I did notice that when I really started hydrating, this area of my skin got a lot less oily because it was making the oils because it needed the hydration. Here, I am still very oily, don't get me wrong, but it's not nearly as bad as it once was. Number 4, do not be afraid to cocktail your serums. There's nothing wrong with taking a half pump of a few of your different serums, especially if they have the same consistency, mixing them together and then applying them everywhere. It's actually preferred because you're using less of the products, you're getting less of the actives, but it's also gonna help you to actually like cater to your skin. So like the cocktail I use today is a retinoid that's gonna help with anti-aging, plus a fine line, wrinkle, hyaluronic, wild indigo, CBD oil-based serum that when they mix together, I get a little bit of the best of both worlds and the skin just feels so happy. And the final tip is do not over exfoliate your skin. If you are exfoliating every day, even if it says gentle enough for every day, with the exception of the peel pads from Dr. Dennis Gross, I have not found anything that I genuinely believe is an everyday type of exfoliant. You're gonna wanna make sure you give yourself 3 days between exfoliating and make sure you're alternating between your physicals and your chemicals. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know down below what your skincare routine is like. Also, and I don't say this in every video, I do like to check the comments and respond to you guys, but with this one specifically, if you have any skincare questions, anything that's more specific to your skin, make sure to comment down below. But if you're gonna ask what's a good recommendation for a serum, let me know down below what your skin type is. Are you oily? Are you dry? Are you sensitive? Are you looking for dark spot correcting? What your main skin concerns, just so that when I jump into the comment section, I can really give you guys the best advice and best feedback I can, rather than having to respond to your comment with, what's your skin like? Because I can tell you right now, that's what my first response is going to be. If you say, hey, what's a good moisturizer? What's your skin like? Thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.